Michael George there?
Yes, this is he.
Hi, Michael. Dan Conner here from Family Services up in Vermont.
Yes, sir.
You put a call in to me, I think, about an intake, I think, that you had phoned in.
Yes. Last night I'd called the emergency number for something I had a concern about, and I was instructed by them to also call today.
I see.
To your office, or not to your office, but to intake. And the intake told me this morning that they investigated it and that it was closed and they weren't doing anything about it. And I just find it highly, highly unlikely that it was investigated and closed in an hour.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't investigated. What it was is that the police did a well child check last night, actually.
Yes.
And the officer had gone to the residence and found that the boys were fine.
Yes.
Nicole was there. I think another person was there. And neither one of them showed any evidence of having used alcohol or any substances, that everything looked stable.
Well, that wasn't necessarily the issue, though.
Well, you had phoned in and said she,
she had overdosed.
Hospitalized for an attempted suicide, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I got the date wrong, though. I said I think it was the Friday before, not last Friday. But that I've just found out about it. But what I'm saying is if she's attempting suicide, then she's obviously not in the proper state of mind to be around children. And I'm not saying
that's not necessarily true. I mean, in a broad sense, people can try to commit suicide, but doesn't necessarily mean that they can't parent if in fact they get help and
well,
from that.
There is a difference between being depressed and suicidal and getting help and attempting. I mean, what if she turns out to be like that Andrea Yates woman and she drives him into a lake? Or what if she turns out to be like Mary Winkler and she shoots the guy she's with in the back and drives off to another state? You never know what's going to happen to people in these kind of situations. And the fact that she's taken action, she's not just, felt depressed, or she's not just said something about being depressed, she's actually taking action to try to end her own life, shows that she's obviously not stable mentally. And I don't see how y'all, and I'm not saying to give the kids to me, I want them to be out of that environment. If the state of Vermont takes custody of them and puts them in foster care, I think that that's a better and safer environment for them than being with a person that is willing to take their own life. I mean, the
thing is that I guess I don't agree with you that there may be you're citing some extreme cases where some of these mothers that where these have made the national media had done harm to their kids. Somebody who tries to do harm to themselves isn't necessarily going to do harm to their kids. And when we are looking at an investigation and somebody phones something in, we look at the circumstances surrounding that that intake. We can't assume that the person is going to harm their children, and it doesn't always mean that somebody who is suicidal or makes a suicidal attempt is going to do something to their child. Now, the thing is that we're not getting any calls from any hospitals or anything of this nature. I mean, the point I'm making here is that we responded to a call made by you.
Yes. Well, I understand that, and I'm not trying to be the ex that's trying to cause trouble.
Right.
But I am concerned about my kids, and you're saying that she's not necessarily trying to harm my children. But let's say that she attempts to kill herself and my kids are in the house and there's no one watching them. Let's say that, she's cooking dinner. She decides that she wants to kill herself, and then there's food on the stove and it's burning and the house catches on fire and my 20-month-old is in a crib.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
No,
Just because she's not intentionally going to harm them doesn't mean that no harm will come to them. What if she blows her brains out and my 3-year-old sees it?
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. You're down in Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
And where did you get your information from? Because, like I said, we didn't get a call from a hospital or from an ambulance or from anybody. We got a call from you.
I got my information from a woman named.
Okay. Is she somebody we should be talking to?
If you want to call her and talk to her, you can. She has seen some things, including what she says appears to be drug deals happening outside the house. I reported that to the police up there, and instead of investigating it, they just went and warned her that they were investigating it. And I know why they did it. It's because her boyfriend used to work for the sheriff's department, and it's because her boyfriend's dad works with the state police. I don't know what's going on up there, but seriously, between the child services and the police up there, I think that is one of the most corrupt small little towns in the history of the world. I thought that stuff happened in the deep south, but seriously.
You're making some real leaps here. I mean,
no, that sounds like some southern Georgia stuff going on there. That sounds like, seriously. I mean, it sounds like a big buddy network where y'all just kind of ignore everything that's going on.
No, I think what has to happen is before the state intervenes in somebody's life, you got to have some pretty cold, hard facts before you go investigating people. And what I'm saying is, you're getting
I'm not saying
you're getting a lot of secondhand information here. So you're saying that you talked to this woman who lives across the street, okay, who gave you this information about your ex-wife, I guess, ODing and going to the hospital. But we have to have something pretty solid before we're going to intervene. We did send an officer to the house to see what was going on. But you have the number of this one. Okay, we'll do some follow-up. And what I would say for you is that if you do come across some other information, don't be afraid to phone it in.
Okay, but one thing I would like to ask is, I mean, you're saying that before you can investigate, you have to have good information, but I thought that's what investigating was for, was to find the good information so that you could take action. I mean, apparently the police knocked on the door, asked her a question, and took her word for it. Let me ask. If I had said that she was starving my kids, would the police have simply knocked on the door and said, "Are you feeding your kids?" "Yes, I am," and walked away?
How do you know the extent to which they looked into it? I mean,
the guy on the phone last night told me that basically what would happen is, since they didn't have a warrant, they couldn't go in or anything like that. I don't know what happened when the police went there, yes, but I was told that they didn't have a warrant, so they couldn't go in if they weren't allowed to.
When police do a well-child check, they check things out. They usually, see the kids, talk to the kids, observe the kids, talk to the parents, assess the situation, and if they see any risk, they will act.
Well, my youngest son is 20 months. My oldest son is 3, but he doesn't speak. You see, so these are children that can't speak for themselves. I'm about 1,500 miles away. I'm not there to speak for them either. And all I'm asking is for somebody, because I have gotten so much stuff. I've gotten proof. I've gotten stuff on tape where they admit to doing drugs, and she's bragging that that's a democratic state and no judge will take the kids from her because she's doing drugs as long as it doesn't affect her parenting. And I've got this stuff on tape, but nobody seems to want to do anything.
Somebody who we do measure, the impact of any substance abuse on parenting. If somebody's drinks or somebody uses drugs, we do assess. Just the fact that somebody is a drug user or a drinker doesn't necessarily mean that they are going to lose their kids.
If someone's a drug user and they don't lose their kids, then I think something is seriously flawed. Because
Mrs. Rose, you're making a lot of leaps here.
I'm not making leaps. You're telling me that if someone is violating not just state law but federal law, that it's okay. Whoop-de-doo.
That's not what I said. And what I'm saying to you is that somebody may be able to parent their kids but still use substances. It's the impact on the kids that we're concerned about. And I'm not saying it's a good thing to use your substances, but I'm just saying is that you can't always draw the conclusion that if somebody is using substances that they should just be losing their kids. It's not the way it does work up here. But I will follow up. We'll follow up with this call.
Okay, thank you.
We'll see if she can give us something more specific here.
All right, thank you. And just to make it clear before, because I am going to call back in a couple of days. I just want to make it clear that you're investigating someone that admits to doing drugs, laughs about it, and has attempted suicide. And so far, everyone's telling me nothing can be done. So if that's the type of person nothing can be done about, I don't know what can be done, but I'll call you back and see what comes of it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
I know.
Bye-bye.